You know that little fin on your car? The one you see on pretty much every new vehicle on the road today? Well, you've probably never given it a second thought. But what if I told you it's one of the most important, and honestly least understood parts of your car?
Because let's be real, that fin, the one that just looks like a cool, sleek design choice, is hiding a massive secret right out in the open.
So yeah, on the surface, you see a design detail. Maybe you think it's for aerodynamics or something, but what it really is a powerful multi-antenna communication hub. It has almost nothing to do with style and everything to do with connection. So let's dive in. Let's talk about what's actually packed inside this little hub and get to the bottom of your car's secret connection to the world around it.
Okay, so that fin is absolutely stuffed with different antennas. And here's the key. They're not for your personal cell phone. They allow the car itself to connect to 4G and 5G networks, to know its exact location with GPS, to pull in satellite radio, and even to act as its own Wi-Fi hotspot. And there's an official name for all this tech working together in the background. It's called vehicle telematics. It's the system that basically turns your car from just a machine into a smart device that is always, and I mean always, connected and communicating.
So what's it communicating? Well, a lot. It's constantly working, sending out your location and trip data, beaming vehicle diagnostics back to the manufacturer, receiving software updates over the air, and connecting to all sorts of cloud servers.
So here's the best way to think about it. Your car is basically a smartphone on wheels. But, and this is a huge but, there are three major differences. One, it's always on. Two, all this communication is automatic. And three, this is the big one, the whole system is turned on by default from the second you get the keys.
And that little detail, enabled by default, is where we pivot from talking about the technology to talking about what it means for you. This is where the whole thing becomes an issue of informed choice. Because for a technology this powerful and this active, a really important step seems to get skipped. Most of us are never directly asked, hey, do you want this system turned on? It just is. Now, I want to be super clear. The point of this conversation isn't to make you afraid or to say that technology is bad. Not at all. It's about something way more fundamental, giving you the knowledge so you can make an informed choice for yourself.
It's a really simple question, but it's a powerful one to ask yourself. For a system that's doing so much in the background, did you ever consciously and deliberately choose to turn it on? So, why is making an informed choice here so important? Well, part of the answer has to do with this idea of precaution, especially when it comes to the radio frequency energy these systems are using to communicate 24/7.
In environmental health, people often talk about taking precautions when a few factors line up, and a lot of them apply inside a car. We're talking about chronic, long-term exposure in very close proximity to these antennas. The signals are often pulsed, which is a different kind of exposure, and this is especially relevant when we think about passengers with developing nervous systems, like kids. And here's a super important distinction to understand. The official government safety standards for this stuff, they were designed to prevent one specific thing: your body tissue getting heated up from a really high-power, short-term exposure. What they don't really evaluate are the potential long-term, non-thermal biological effects from chronic, low-level exposure. Now, this doesn't mean harm is a sure thing, but it does highlight a pretty big area of scientific uncertainty, and that's exactly why a lot of people think a precautionary approach just makes sense. The conversation around precaution also tends to focus on children for some very real physiological reasons. I mean, their bodies and brains are still developing. Their skulls are thinner, and research has shown that their bodies can absorb this type of energy in different ways than an adult's body does. But again, and I really can't stress this enough, the goal is not to panic. The goal is to be curious. When we actually understand what's going on, we can start asking better questions, we can listen.
Okay, so with all that as background, let's get to the part that really matters. What can you actually do about it? Here's a super simple 4-step action plan for taking control and becoming a truly informed car owner. All right, 4 steps. It's that easy. First, you can actually measure the energy levels inside your car to see for yourself what's happening. Second, get into your vehicle's settings menu and see what you can control. Third, and this is a big one, ask the dealership some very direct questions before you buy. And fourth, go on a little treasure hunt and read the fine print in your paperwork.
Let's really zero in on step 3, because this is where you have a ton of power. When you're at the dealership, you ask them these questions point blank. What wireless systems are active by default? Can this telematic system be totally disabled by a mechanic? What data is being sent and who is getting it? And the killer question, where is this disclosed in writing? Asking for it in writing changes the whole conversation.
And what about step 4, reading that fine print? Well, the consent that you probably gave without even knowing it is almost always hidden deep inside the paperwork. You got to look for it in that huge stack of papers you signed at the end, in the terms of service for your car's mobile app, and in those ridiculously long privacy policies on the company website. Just knowing where to look is half the battle.
When you boil it all down, it comes back to a really simple principle. Technology, especially when it's this woven into our lives, should be there to serve us. It shouldn't be there to surprise us.
And that right there is the real takeaway. Becoming aware of what that fin on your car is actually doing, that's the crucial first step. But the ultimate goal, the whole point, is to get back your ability to make a real choice. So I'm going to leave you with this to chew on. Have you ever actually asked what systems are active in your own car? Have you ever stopped to think about what's happening wirelessly in that metal box where you and your family spend so much time? Asking that question might just be the start of a really important journey for you.